mentally readiness. Mentally ready individuals are typically emotional stable, have a clear understanding of their own values and goals, and are committed to working through challenges that may arise in marriage. Very important. Readiness before marriage involves various aspects, including emotional, like I earlier mentioned, financial and mental preparedness, which is a readiness. But today we are going to be looking at the readiness. All right. And I would like to start with you, Pastor Kelly. Though I have given an insight of this, what it's really all about, but of course, you know, this comes with so many questions. Yeah. A lot of persons do not sit down to count what marriage is all about.
True.
They just jump into marriage. And I don't know if it is the reason why we are having so many broken homes today. So that is why we are here, to not just to discuss this, but also to provide solution to some issues out there. Because I know a lot of persons need to hear, not just to hear, but to start practicing these things. Okay?
Yes.
So we are talking about mental readiness before marriage. Okay. What do you understand by that?
Okay, let's not not first of all sit down to calculate the costs, make plans that if he starts this project, he's going to be able to sustain and then finish this project.
All right, we will come back to this. It's so obvious that you're ready for me today.
Yes, of course.
Sophia, do you want to say something?
I just go with what he says. He's very much correct. You know, some people just say marriage as an obligation. Oh, I reach a certain age and they're like, I'm supposed to be married by now. Some people don't really sit down and ask themselves, do I have what it takes? Am I prepared to face whatever hits me? They just venture it because that's what it's meant to be. So I agree with him.
Okay, so it's not a do or die phase. Were you saying it as one?
No, I'm not saying it's not a do or die.
No, I'm saying, are you seeing as one? Like he said, some persons see it as a do or die phase, and others do not see it that way. So which do you see?
Well, it's somewhat a do or die affair to me.
Really?
Somewhat. Well, I use the word somewhat because as a Christian, we have to fulfill one of the laws of God, which is going to the world and multiply. So you feel me?
But you know.
hold on. I said as a Christian. I know they have other ways. So,
okay.
Yeah, so, and we have to, even the Bible made Adam and Eve. Okay, God saw that he needed someone. So if our Father in heaven saw that Adam needed someone, so I think to an extent, to do that affair. But how ready are you to enter the affair? It's not the question in quotes.
Okay, all right. So Pastor Kelly,
yes.
I was not wrong when I call you a pastor. Of course, you're one because you started with the Holy Bible. Okay, so do you actually see marriage as do or die affairs? Because I think this is something that it might not really look like a serious thing, but at the same time, it's actually very serious because until you begin to define what it is to you, you won't rush.
True.
So a lot of persons that sees it as do or die phase, the moment they are up to a particular certain age, are like, if I don't marry, that means my life does not amount to anything. It means that my mates are leaving me behind and all those. But those people that do not see it as one, they feel that, okay, I still have time to achieve so many things and to get myself ready. So that's why I seem to dwell on this. How do you see it?
For me, I don't see marriage as a do or die affair.
It's obvious.
Of course, very obvious. Now, listen, I will always tell people, if you see your mates getting married and you feel that you're troubled, you're not going to marry yourself. We have recorded situations whereby ladies feign these things. They use their money to back up their husbands, pay their own bride prices, and at the end of the day, they put it on social media and say that they are lawfully wedded and happily married. No, that's not it. I don't see it as a do or die affair because, number one, I have to be ready. I have to tell myself that I am ready for this thing. I don't want to just jump into it. At the end of the day, as I'm jumping into it, I'm jumping out of it. That's not how it's supposed to be. Marriage is something that should be for, according to what they say, better or for worse. But it's not for a given time frame. Let us say it's for 1 month, 1 year. No, it's for the lifetime that these two individuals that are involved in it will stay, at least till the end of this marriage, which is death do us part. So I don't see marriage as a do or die affair, because before I get married, I must ascertain if the person I'm looking at to get married to is compatible. If the two of us are compatible, there's a place for compatibility. If there's no compatibility, then it cannot go.
All right. Just like Pastor Kelly said, that marriage is actually an institution. Of course, you can never graduate from it. You just have to be there till death do you apart.
True.
And then we know that this has a lot to do with also emotion. Some persons might be like, no, you don't bring emotion when it has to do with wedding. And of course, we know that that's a lie, because emotion makes a lot of persons to do what they're not supposed to do. But I want you to talk about emotion, because a lot of persons need to be ready emotionally. All right, so I wanted to say something about that, Sophia.
Okay, for your emotions, I think that there's a point in time you reach that maturity too helps your emotions. Okay, so
you said maturity.
Maturity helps. Yes, to an extent, to your emotions. And if you are this kind of person that seems to be a people person, I usually advise people a lot that you should know yourself. Okay? You should know yourself. You should know what works for you, and don't be a one-man island. Talk to people. Get to hear other people's views on things that has happened, because these are what helps people build up and grow. So when you hear things that has happened, and then you sit down and then you ask yourself some questions that are necessary for you, these are what can help you grow emotionally, and that's what we call about the readiness.
Okay. All right. This one now. Oh, do you have something to say?
Yes.
Okay.
No, she said maturity helps your emotions. I don't quite follow, because if you say maturity helps your emotion, I think somehow it is ambiguous. It is wide. You have to be very specific where you're going to.
So be specific for us.
Yes, maturity. Now, there's a place for maturity which is cultivated, because there are certain youths or certain children that behave very mature. Their behaviors are mature. There are certain adults that act as though they are kids. They are not like emotionally mature, whereas some other children are emotionally mature.
But not that they have psychological issues.
No.
Just
so
nature.
I think there's this maturity that's cultivated. It's cultivated by that individual. Okay. There are people who mature very early, not because they got that training from anybody, but they cultivated it. It's an habit. Just like someone who is saucy. It's a habit that's cultivated.
Is it cultivated or nature given?
Nature given, no. That's, if you talk about nature given, there are two different things.
If it is nature given, that means to give, so at least it will be, let's say 50-50 or 40-50.
There are so many things that people interpret as nature given, but it's not nature given. It's cultivated by that individual.
So you said emotion is cultivated.
No, not just emotion is cultivated. Your environment, your immediate environment has influence.
Okay.
Yes.
The society.
Yes. The society itself gives it, and that person, because society will give, it depends on the individual to accept or not accept. So if you accept it, it works for you. If you don't accept it, it works for you. Either way, it's okay. So if you're talking about maturity, you just have to be specific. You have to narrow it down to where you're going to buttress your point. So you know that this is what I'm hitting at. Just like they'll say, hit the nail on the head. So yes. So okay, you have to say straight.
So help me hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
I want to know why you said it's maturity, that Kelly doesn't really agree with you. And again, when you ask, is it cultivated or nature given? Also make that on us. clear to us.
Okay, I'll start with the cultivated one. I asked that because you said environment works, yes, but there are some people that are given birth to. We call it gifts.
Maturity.
Some people are at a young age.
Yes.
So don't you think they get to learn that from their parents, the immediate environment?
I don't think they learn, because we can see a family that has children and just that one person has that gift. So will you tell me the others weren't learning?
So maturity is a gift.
So I think to an extent that the ones that happen to that, it's actually a gift, because to understand something, it's not quite easy. Like he said, we have 22-year-olds, 30-year-olds. They don't have the maturity that sometimes a 15-year-old may have.
Okay.
Though age plays too, to an extent, for the maturity aspect. But when we not talk about the ones that, like he wants to say, cultivated, I don't really see it as being cultivated. Because we have cases, like I said, families. But you just see that one person having it. Are you going to tell me that he learned it from the environment?
Of course, there's always an environmental influence.
Yes.
Now, you want to say that that thing is innate.
Yes.
Wait,
the environment is helping to bring it out.
Of course. It will help. Okay, that's why I say break your points down for anybody to understand. It is innate, yes, but something must have to trigger it. So the ones that are inside, something will have to bring it outside. That's the environmental influence, because a parent giving birth to a child, and there's a tendency that the child will act in a certain direction. But it takes the environment and the people around to mold that child. And it is that person's decision to be influenced or not be influenced.
So will you still say it's a gift after his explanation? It's some sort?
In some sort, yes.
Of a gift.
Yes, because he agreed with me that it was in it. Environment had to bring it out. Because if you don't have it as a gift first, environment can't really bring it out.
So are you saying that there are some persons that do not have maturity as a gift?
Some persons, he even used the word cultivate it. That means they tend to learn it. Or how am I don't really have a word to like put it, but
okay, can we put it this way? It's like, of course, we're talking about marriage now.
yes.
It is open for everyone.
Yes, please.
So you go into marriage, I equally go into marriage. So I can decide if my marriage works or not. And you can equally decide if your own works or not.
Doesn't work.
So if mine doesn't work, it means that I refuse to make it work. Doesn't mean that it's a gift.
True.
Okay.
So it doesn't mean that God gave me ability to make marriage works and not give you an ability to make marriage works. Can we say something like that? So in other words, everyone that is born by a woman has the ability to be matured, but you decide if you want to. You decide how the environment should influence you. It's just like you going to all those ghetto areas.
Yeah.
And then you see everybody is speaking, using slangs, using pidgin and all that. You can decide if you want to learn or you don't want to learn.
Yes.
So with all these explanations, should we still say that maturity is some sort of a gift?
I still stand my ground.
That's
all right. Okay, that's amazing. All right, let's look at this. This is the most coco area.
okay.
Financial in marriage. You understand?
Yes, please.
I know a lot of persons will tell you I'm ready financially, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and all of that. But maybe when they step in there, they realize that one part is not there, like the money aspect. Okay, you know, when they say I'm ready financially, most times they might not even be buoyant.
Agree to get married. They must have. This is it. Now it takes 3: mental, emotional, psychological. Okay, let's look at the financial aspect. If I marry this man, and after this period, now I can see money. After this period, what if there's no money? How should I be able to sit down and still be with this person back to back? This is one question that anybody should ask themselves. It goes both ways. Okay. There are men who get married to ladies just because there's a financial affluence on the other end. Okay, so these two people should be able to ask themselves, am I ready
This ambition is what the blood.
I have fought a very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you are watching Wedding Banter on Atlantic Television Network, and we have been talking about mental readiness before marriage, which is very, very important. Our husbands bring issues no matter how ready a man or a woman is, and it seems that people do not really know how to settle this aspect despite the level of communication in marriage. Sophia, of course, you heard what Pastor Kelly said.
Yes.
Do you have something to say about this before we go into the assignment? Should I call it assignment when we talked about? All right.
He did well on the matter, so I agree with whatever he said. I don't really have much to say.
Don't have much to say.
Yeah.
Any married man that doesn't have care, when I mean enough.
Yes.
A lot of persons live kind of young's life, and then when they get in there, telling you are mentally ready, at the end of the day, they now realize that what they saw was actually mirage. So, can you?
That's why I said readiness comes in. But I think as a lady, when you see flamboyant, you should actually sit and ask yourself, is it really flamboyant? Because if you're going in because of what you saw, definitely you get disappointed at the end of the day. Sometimes, like you said, it ends up being a mirage. So I think as a lady, if you see a guy that's hardworking, has what you want, and financially ready, when we talk about financially ready, doesn't mean he must have the wealth of a billionaire. He has something doing. Okay? He's working. He has something. Now when I talk about the family area, I'm talking about like the in-laws you're getting to see. Now when you're getting married, you're going to a different sector. You're meeting someone that has different family values. And now, marriage is not just you. And as a lady, you're the keeper of your home. You should have that at the back of your mind. So when coming in, you should want to learn some things. I need to unlearn some things. When you come to a family that, let's say maybe for instance in your family, you're the type that, oh, we're lovey-dovey, we have this family joy, and your family you're going into, it's not like they're not lovey-dovey, but there's not this really strong. You just have to be prepared so you know how you face them.
Okay.
You know how to face them.
Curious.
Okay, the things she mentioned were actually what I wanted to point out. But I'm going to go a different direction altogether.
Okay.
Now, the first one would be the ability to put up with other people. You know, there are people who love to stay on their own. They don't like staying with other people. And not that they are not hospitable, they are hospitable, but the moment people come around them and stay past a certain time, they feel like this person, you're invading my space. So there are people, they come into marriage or relationship with that mindset that they cannot be able to stay with another person. Because the way I am is not how the other person is.
Okay.
So if they don't prepare themselves, they don't groom themselves into that maturity before they go there, they'll have issues. Because, okay, for example, I love to keep my environment clean. The other person doesn't know how to keep their environment. Now, so many persons will interpret it as though you must have enough money. No, it's not about having money. It's about being ready to cater for these things. If it's not there, politely tell them it's not there. But if it's there, you have to show that, okay, it's no longer yourself only, but this person and every other person that follows behind.
Yeah.
So, wow. So when getting married, getting ready to say yes, I do, you should have it in front of your mind, not at the back. You are preparing for
Okay.
not just your wife.
I think it should be at the back of your mind, but display it right in front of your eyes. So I think every person should just write it down on paper, put it where your eyes will see at all times. That you have to remind yourself all the time that this is what I'm into. Since it's not going to end anytime soon, it's a very long journey. So it's not ending anytime soon. So you just have to be prepared for this thing.
Wow. Pastor Kelly.
Yes,
Thank you,
please.
Mr. Counselor.
You're welcome.
It was good having you on with Banter.
Thank you.
Amazing. And Sophia, thank you so much.
You're
Have you
welcome.
some other time. And we will just join Port Harcourt residents and get to hear their own opinion on mental readiness before marriage. And when we return from that, we will call it a day.
Happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Okay, my advice to young women or young girls are patience, for them to have patience, endurance, and for their fathers to teach them what it takes to be in marriage, because I feel the responsibility still lies on the fathers to teach them what it takes to be a married woman and how to live with their husbands and how to respect their husbands, because the Bible says that the man is the head of the family. So, and the woman is supposed to submit to her husband, while the man should love his wife. So, if they have this knowledge of submitting to their husband and their
age, educationally, you have to be matured. Maturity is what it is all about. And when you are matured, you have the wisdom, you have the understanding. You understand me? The understanding means that the ability, when there is a misunderstanding between the two parties, you'll be able to settle it amicably without a second party. But by the time you allow mother-in-law, father-in-law of both parties to come inside, the marriage is bound to crash. That's what I think.
I think for someone to prepare for marriage, you have to be mentally fit. You don't just rush in. It's a lifetime stuff. It's not something that you just rush in and you want to rush out. Because if you see the world today, we have a lot of divorces. Some enter at the age of 19. They don't know what the meaning of marriage or what marriage is all about. At the end of it, you will hear that that person have divorced. So for you to be mentally fit, one, you have to be matured. Maturity is not only by age. Some people are 40, but they are not matured in mind. So marriage you have to be matured in mind. You have to be fit. You have to tolerate a lot of things. And I think in all, money answered everything. If you don't have money, if you don't have good job, you cannot be able to keep marriage. For example, now house rent in my area where I'm residing, self-contained is about 350,000, while one bedroom flat is about 400,000. Then 3 bedroom is about 600,000. If you don't have money, how will you pay? So at the end of the day, you find out that if you don't have money, the marriage will just collapse. So one, you have to learn trade, or maybe you have to be educated first before you endow yourself into marriage. So if you don't have job, if you don't have a good business,
they have to know what marriage is about, the purpose of marriage, why do they want to get married. So when they decide, like internally, then they can proceed to take actions. But if it is not well spelled out by individuals, that's where we see problems in marriages and people having issues in their marriages because they don't understand the concept of marriage. They don't have the idea of what marriage is about, why God instituted marriage. People think it's just for the pleasure, just want to have the fun of it and just walk away. No, it is beyond the fun and the pleasure in it. So first of all, they have to know what marriage is about, the big picture behind God instituting marriage before going into it. So that's my humble opinion. Thank you.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people. All of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought a very family.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Welcome back. I hope you had a swell time. We will meet again here in the studio same time, same day next week. And that's all on Wedding Banter this evening. I am Immaculata Irikana. You can join us on Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, X Atlantic TV Net. You can also watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. Do remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thanks for watching and continue to stay connected on ATN socials till we come here next time. Good evening.
The Sahara, we bring all sport